2, we're going to workshop how to actually build lifestyle businesses online. Okay. How many of you are ready to have a lifestyle, right? A lifestyle, Karen, of impact and influence? This is a word I got in 2000, I think it was 2009. I got this languaging, a lifestyle, create the Lifestyle Institute, the lifestyle of impact and influence. And I know a lot of people use those words, but I personally believe that you have something. Just say this with me. I have something that the world needs, and it can only come through you. Okay. Each of us has a unique gifting, a unique sound, a unique way of showing up in different circumstances, in different rooms, in different spaces and places. And when you show up as authentically you, everything changes. Okay? Everything changes. So just write in the chat, wherever you're watching this, I am. Just write, I am. Not I am, just I am, right? I am, I exist. Therefore, you have something necessary for this hour. Okay. The kicker is, here's the kicker. The enemy of our souls doesn't want us to get a hold of that revelation. Okay. He doesn't want us to get a hold of the I am, which is inside of us. And I guess I'm just here to tell you today that you are, and you have something that the world needs. And what we're going to talk about this week is super practical. It's like day to day, get up, brush your hair, brush your teeth, put your clothes on, practical. So just write in the chat, practical, tactical. This is going to be a practical, tactical workshop. Okay. So who's ready? I want some like energy in this space. Who's ready? By the end of this week, you have a practical, tactical that you can bring to the marketplace based on your unique gifting. All right? All right? Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so a couple of housekeeping things. We're streaming right now. I want to encourage you, stay engaged in the chat. Studies show us that if we just listen, we don't retain as much as if we listen and take notes. Studies also show us that we don't retain as much if we just listen and take notes as if we listen, take notes, and talk back. So write in the chat, talk back. Okay. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Ann McDonald. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. But here's the thing, our house was like a cacophony of people growing up. So if I wanted to be even remembered that I existed, I had to talk back. So if you're from like a big, messy cacophony, I don't know if that's even the right word. It's like a cacophony of sound. If you're from a big, messy family, or you've come from a big, messy life, it's all good. Like, you got a place here. Okay. And if you're called to clean up messes in industries, you got a place here. Okay. Because I believe that you are called to take territory. And part of the way we take territory is to actually create these beautiful things, these simple tactical practicals called information products and courses that can help people right where they are. Okay, so let me know 1 in the chat if you're good with this, and then we'll get started. Okay. All right. So what are we going to tackle this week? We're going to talk about creating signature courses. Can you guys write in the chat? Signature courses. This event is called Signature Course Live. It's a workshop type week. And my heart for you is that at the end of this week, you would have a clear picture. Just write this in the chat, a clear picture of what you are called to create and bring to the marketplace. Okay. So let me know in the chat, in the Facebook group, in the YouTube, whatever, wherever you're watching, what is the industry or area that you want to impact? I know we've got a couple of people on the VIP Zoom link with us. They're in the family business space. They're in the emotional wholeness space. They're in the vocational ministry space. They're in the international business space. They're in the consulting space. They're in the tech space. So let us know in the chat, what are some of the areas that you are called to impact, that you're called to bring solutions to? Okay. We got emotional wholeness for ICU registered nurses. Let's give it up for Lisa sponsor. Right? Can I just tell you guys, I got started in the decorating space. Like decorating. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. I want to know what other areas that you are called to bring wholeness in. Okay. All right. So let me just give you guys a little backstory on. It wasn't always roses and daisies and cash. Okay. It wasn't always that way. So I want to share with you guys. Okay. So building leaders in a foreign culture. Thank you, Marilyn. Let's give it up for Marilyn. Okay. Real talk question. Let me just ask you guys, like, how many of you have ever felt like completely quitting? Like, I'm out, tapped out, I quit, had a big argument with yourself in the mirror, said things to yourself about yourself that you're like, you wouldn't repeat to any other human being on the face of the earth. Maybe you've said bad things to other people about yourself. I can't do it. I quit. This sucks. I'll never make it. Has anybody ever been in that place before? Okay. Just let me know one in the chat. Okay. Because when I got started, I had about not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 years of up and down, an emotional roller coaster of small success, epic failure. Small success, medium success, epic failure. Okay. So one of the reasons I'm so passionate about training you, just say, I'm going to get trained. Just write it in the chat. I'm going to get trained. Okay. Is that I want to hand you my victory. I want to hand you my $87,000 days. I want to hand you my $94,000 days. Okay. I want to hand you my $3.35 million days. I want to hand these victories to you because I almost quit. I almost quit because I was like, who am I? Who am I? I'm a middle-aged mom. I got 2 kids. I'm working in the basement in suburbia. My husband thinks I'm a nut. Okay. Like, I almost quit. And so that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about training you to leverage the online space. Okay, just write leverage the online space. So what I want to unpack for you is just a quick storyline, and hopefully you're going to hear a little bit about yourself in this process. Okay. So once upon a time, I had a day job. Okay. How many of you have day jobs? Okay. or you have something where people expect you to show up. Maybe you've got a consistent volunteer position. Maybe you are the one that everybody calls at church to get everything done because you're capable, you're competent, they can rely on you. Okay? Maybe you're the mom or the dad. And every day you get up and people are pulling on you from a place of expectation. Okay. And because you have capacity, how many of you have capacity? Right? You're like, you take a hit, you're like, back up again. You take a hit, you're like, I got it. I'm all good. I can handle it. Right? You're like, okay. Everybody else might be falling apart around you, and you're like, I got it. I can handle it. Okay. That was me. Okay. I had a interior design business. It was a luxury interior design business. I could handle it. Okay. I traveled for work. I worked. I was a mom. I had big press. I had 30,000 people on my email list pulling on me like daily. What do we got today? What are we going to get today? Just write in the chat if you wake up in the morning and you feel like people are pulling on you and you're like, I got to bring something today. Okay. I was on an airplane, right, Karen? It's like that place, and you're like, I just got to keep going. Okay. So I was in one of those gotta keep going moments. Okay. Just write in the chat, gotta keep going, right? We've just come out of a couple of years of, I'll just call it gotta keep going world, right? You just gotta keep going. So I was on a plane. It was like a 40-minute airplane ride from Oakland, California to Burbank, and from Burbank back to Oakland. And I flew down to deal with a client. And I was in a gotta keep going moment. And how many of you have ever flown Southwest Airlines? You guys know Southwest Airlines? It's like, it's fun, but it's a bus in the sky, right? Love you, Southwest, but it's a bus in the sky. And I had one of their napkins, right? The big food they serve you is like peanuts, right? So I had a napkin, and on this napkin, I was like, something has to change. Like, I can't keep doing this, right? Like, anybody, any of my ladies, any of my gentlemen, it's like one too many glasses of wine, one too many bags of chips, one too many phone calls with girlfriends or guy friends or whoever you're talking to, and you're like saying stuff you shouldn't be saying, and you're like, I gotta get out of this. Like, my words are not edifying me right now. Okay? Anybody. Right? Not alone. Okay? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. And I kept writing numbers on the napkin, and I was like, nothing, this isn't gonna work. Like, I can't work harder and make more money. I can't, like, there's nothing here. There's no there. Okay. So let me know in the chat if you've ever been under that place and you're like, there is no there. Like, there is no more. I cannot work harder. Like, I'm going to break. Am I talking to anyone? So that's where I was. I'm like, I'm going to break. I got teams at the time. Here's the really scary part of this whole thing. I looked amazing on paper. Okay. Luxury interior designer. Highfalutin, like, clients. Highfalutin clients. You guys know what that word, like, highfalutin, right? 30,000 people on my email list. I'm getting paid. I am being flown to New York City and being paid to just talk about stuff. Okay. I am quoted in national press. I am a BFD. I'm getting paid to do Pinterest and Twitter chats. And I am falling apart behind the foundation, behind the makeup. Okay. Like something's got to give. Okay. So I'm down in LA and I go to a vocal lesson with my son. He's down in LA and he's getting vocal lessons by this guy who shall remain nameless because he's kind of a big deal. And I'm like falling apart. It's like, what's going on? Like, it's supposed to be all amazing and it's not amazing. He's like, you need to go online. I'm like, go online? I'm a designer. Okay, so how many of you think in your head, either right now or in the past, what I do doesn't work online? Let me know in the chat. Real talk. What I do, it doesn't work online. You can't do design or decorating online. You have to go to people's houses. You have to send your team. You have to arrange the flowers and all the stuff, right? I was like, he's like, Ann, you got to go online. I'm like, how? He's like, I'm a vocal teacher. I make more online than I do offline. And he was the first person who talked to me who had actual fruit to learn how to take my skill set and put it in the online space. Okay. So just let me know, give me a 1.5 in the chat if you're like, okay, maybe, but you still don't know my gig. Okay.
Hey, Ann, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So in that moment, it sounds to me like the thing that really changed, that the light bulb that went on for you was belief. Am I right?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way.
That was one of the, and the reason I say that is because I think a lot of the hurdles, hi everybody, I'm Patrick. A lot of the hurdles that we face first are up here.
Yeah.
If you think you can't, you can't.
That's actually, I hadn't thought about that. So write in the chat, belief. Because I had a bad belief. Thank you, Patrick. I had a bad belief that what I did wouldn't translate into the online space. And guys, this is back like 2008. Okay. This is way back. This is before like the advent of HGTV and DIY and all of those kinds of things in the design space came to fruition. Okay. And how many of you are in that space where you're like, Ann, I've just come through, all the stuff that our world has been through these past couple of years. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you got downsized. Maybe you got like your entire industry got shifted and you're like, I'm not even relevant anymore. Okay. Anybody feel like I don't want like, I'm like emotional today, guys, in a good way. So I was in that place where I'm just like, this sucks. And I'm at the same time, I'm kind of behind the scenes, like this thing sucks. At the same time, I have this look, my job, my place of my position in my industry was out here. It was big. There was stuff like I had to show up for. Okay. But I had like my revenue numbers were great. My profit numbers were dwindling. Anybody ever had like good revenue and no profit? That was the other thing, right? My industry was changing. So back in the day, we got paid coming and going as designers. But then our industry shifted. And we weren't getting paid coming, and we certainly were not getting paid going. We used to make money on design and on product fulfillment. And now everything was closing. The business term is called disintermediation. Write that down. Disintermediation. basically means what used to work now it's just kind of dissolved away. Everything fundamentally shifted. And so I was like, I was in that place of, I'll try anything at this point. I was in that place where I'm like, whatever. Flashing yellow arrows, buy now. Like, do this, dancing monkeys. I was like, I'm in. I don't care. Like, my pride has gone out the window. All right. You're laughing because you know what I'm talking about. It's like, I just, like, my standards are gone. Okay. I'm like, whatever. So this gentleman who I did very much respect and still do, he's like, talk to this guy. I'm like, who's this guy? Because he had a bunch of flashing arrows, you know. And I'm like, so I talked to this guy. And I go to my first internet marketing thing. Okay. How many of you guys have ever been to like an internet marketing thing? Okay, let's just get a little context here. Luxury designer. Okay. I'm a luxury interior designer. So I whip out, I show my revenue. So I qualify to go to this thing. I'm like, I pay $5,000 for like, I don't know, 2 days or something. And Patrick's like hollering at me. Why that are you paying $5,000 to this guy in New York City? And like, why do you have, like, I had to show income. I had like to qualify. So I go to this thing and there are 12 of us in the room. How many of you guys have ever heard that song? Which one of these things is not like the other? Which one of these things does not belong? That was me. Like, sore thumbs stick out. Like, I am like, what am I doing here? Like, I get there and okay, so if any of you guys are like gamers or you know, like in the olden days, in the 2008s to 2013s, I had this gaming computer because that's what we needed to handle like floor plans and stuff. So I show up at this conference with these internet people. It's not even a conference. It's like a room of 12 people. And I have my Asus gaming computer. And they've all got, like, they're internet marketers, right? They got their hip things ahead of time, you know, like they know how to do stuff online. And I walk in the room and they make fun of me. That's like, I pull out this gaming computer to take. I'm just like, oh my God, like I am the stooge, right? You guys heard that thing? If you don't know who the stooge is in the room, it's you. That's me. I'm like, I go in the bathroom, I'm crying. And okay, let's just top this off here. I'm one of 2 women in the entire room. The other woman has been on Oprah. She's like an international best-selling author. She's like dialed. She's like got the right clothes. I have the wrong clothes. I have the wrong computer. I'm in a room of 12 people. Like, you cannot hide. Okay. This is my introduction to online marketing. This is what's going to save me. And I'm like, I'm effed. Like, it was bad. Okay. It was bad. I could take you into the hotel in Connecticut and I could take you down to the conference room and into the bathroom where I would cry. I'd go in and I would just cry. The day after the first day, I went shopping because I'm like, I have the wrong clothes. I have the wrong clothes. I should have brought the shirt. I still have the blouse that I bought to make myself look less like the stooge in the room. And I'm like, Patrick, I'm buying clothes for the thing. But that conference changed my life. Can somebody write that in the chat? sometimes our lowest points, the things that we feel expose us the most, are the things that change our life. And yeah, I looked like the stooge. I felt like the stooge. I actually was the stooge. Okay. I share that with you because now, over 15 years later, everything's different. Okay. The biggest single day I've had is $3.35 million. It's not uncommon to have days that are $80, $90, $100,000 days. Okay. So the thing that makes you feel like you're about to give up, the thing that confronts all of the insecurity in you about the message that you're called to bring, that's the thing that we got to deal with this week. Yeah, Marilyn, it did. So Marilyn, who's in the VIP Zoom room, and by the way, guys, if you're not in the VIP Zoom room, I highly encourage you to do so. There should be a link somewhere to get you in. We literally had the sweetest time of just Q&A. The very thing that exposed me for not knowing what I didn't know was the very place that I needed to go to learn what I needed to learn, so that I could bring my message to the world. Okay. So let me know in the chat if you've ever been in that place. Maybe you've been in that place and you've shrunk back. Okay. Maybe you've gotten into those situations you're like, I can't do it. Okay. And that's okay, right? Because those situations will keep coming around because God is kind, right? He's kind to us, and he keeps coming back around and says, hey, don't quit today. You can quit tomorrow, but just don't quit today. So what happened? So I'm in this room, and I'm not at liberty, if you will, to share some of the names in that room, but suffice it to say, the people in that room have gone on to make hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay. Now, I have not made hundreds of millions of dollars yet. I've done pretty well, but I want to talk to you this week about what has kept me from moving as quickly as I wanted to or desired to, so that you don't make the same mistakes I made. Is that fair? Because I'm not making those mistakes now, but at the time I didn't believe it. And thank you, Patrick, for bringing that up. I didn't believe it. And I don't think you believed it either. You didn't believe it either, Patrick, did you? You're like, this is impossible.
No, I didn't believe it for a long time. And I just, since you brought me in, I'm going to say I was an atheist, non-believer, not with God, but I didn't believe. Then I became a believer, and now I'm a zealot. And the thing that I think it's always important to impart, if you can leave today with one thing, by the end of this week, you're going to have a lot. But if you can leave today with one thing, it's this, that you can do it. That A, it's possible, I guess two things, and B, it's possible for you. And so the question is, if you have something you're working on, how can you make it better? Or if you have an idea you've been toying with and you haven't started, how do I get going? That's what you're going to take away.
When we give it up for Patrick, I want you guys to write that in the chat. It's possible, and it's possible for me. So when I went into that room with those 12 people, and I was the stooge, I went in from a place of desperation. Okay, just write that in the chat. I was desperate for breakthrough. I was like, I'll do anything. Like, because my life right now, my business life isn't working. And it's not working so bad that I am willing, as a luxury interior designer, to go into a room and be made fun of. They were in their own way, they were kind, but ouch. Have you guys ever been in that place where you're kind of like the butt of the joke and they're trying to be funny and kind, but you're like, oh. It's like, but I got to do something. So I just buckled up, buttercup. I went back into the room and I did what I could. And when it was my turn to share about what, because all of us in that space were learning how to take what we carried and market it online. Okay. Internet marketing. I didn't even know what internet marketing was. I'm like, I got a blog with 30,000 subscribers. They're really nice to me. And they're like, do they buy anything? And I'm like, no. Nobody buys a flipping thing. But man, if I don't have my post out by like 9 a.m., they're like, where are you? What happened? Where's our tip for the day? Okay. So how many of you have been in that place? Think about your life right now where people are pulling on you. They're pulling, but they're not. It's not an equal, honoring relationship, right, Karen? Right? Lisa, right, Marilyn? It's like, it's not that place of honor, right? It's not two kings coming together. One king brings the spices, one king brings the fabric. It's not that. You're just like, you're getting pulled. But in order for me to get to a place where I could honorably package up what I was carrying, I had to change. I had to change. I had to think differently. So, what did I have to change? How did I have to think differently? When I went into that room, and I want to know if any of you guys have ever been in this place, I thought sales and marketing was slimy because I was an interior designer.
Married to a sales guy.
Married to a sales guy. Right? Let's unpack that. Like, I thought sales was beneath me. I'm going to ask you to write something in the chat. And whether you believe it or not, I want you to write it down. Sales is service. Write it in the chat. Sales is service. Sales is actually love in action. Write that in the chat. Sales is love in action. So we're going to take down some sacred cows this week. Because if I hadn't taken down the sacred cow, that sales was slimy and beneath me, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I'm actually in one of our Airbnbs, and we have a student housing arm to our family businesses, and I'm sitting in one of them right now. If I hadn't taken down the sacred cow that sales is service, I wouldn't be able to charge rent. Okay. And there would be international students who want to go to Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry that wouldn't have a beautiful house to live in. Okay. So how many of you, real talk, have ever thought sales is slimy or money is bad, right? Ew, money, right? I had to kill that thing. So the way that I got out of that thing took me 5 years too long. Okay. There's a system, if you will, that I developed in the process that took me 5 years to really hone and to refine, that I want to give to you today. Okay. We're going to unpack it tomorrow. But I don't want this to take you 5 years. Okay. You're going to hear me tell a lot of stories because I want to take down the sacred cows in our thinking. Okay. So that you can get what you carry right now and you can present it to the market in an honorable way. Is that fair? Okay. So write these 3 things down. I want you to account for your ability. Account for your actual ability. The one thing I did have when I walked into that room, even as the stooge, was I had an ability, I had a skill set as an interior designer. Okay. That's the first thing I want you to write down. The second thing, I want you to train from truth. Write that down. Okay. That took me a long time to get a hold of. And it's not going to take you a long time to get a hold of. The third thing is we're going to market to monetize. Okay. Because sales is service. Sales is love in action. Okay. So what happened after that room? Who wants to know what happened? Why it took me 5 flipping years? Okay. This is like embarrassing, but hey, what's the point of our stories if they can't help somebody else, right? No point in keeping our story like totally quiet. So here I am, this luxury interior designer. I got all these people on my email list, getting paid to do all these fancy pants things. And my revenue is big. My profit is non-existent. I'm miserable. I'm overworked. I'm overtired. I'm like trying to hide behind the makeup and the tears. And I'm like, something's got to give. Okay. So what did I do? I came back from that conference and I promptly did not do what he told me to do. Anybody ever done that? Anybody ever had somebody, right? Like, this is your way out. You're like, I got it. And then you go home and you don't do it. I didn't do it. Kind of fits and starts. I think I know better than that guy who like clicked. He was clicking. I don't want to exaggerate on this one, but I think he was doing about 30 million a year in 2008. Okay. Do you think I had something to learn from him? Do you think maybe, maybe I should have listened? I know better. He doesn't know my industry. Anybody ever seen Shrek? Why do I share that with you? Because I spent a lot more time as the stooge than I needed to, because I thought I knew better. Because I believed what I thought. You guys are in my vortex at all. And I know some of the people who are on our VIP are right now. They're part of our mastermind programs and our signature core secrets. And you'll hear me say, I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel, right? Your thoughts and your feelings are supposed to work for you. You don't work for them. And so when we're confronted with a higher reality of someone who actually has the breakthrough that we desire, if we stay stuck in our old mindsets, if we stay stuck in, yeah, but this is the way I've always done it, and so I'm just going to keep doing it my way, what happens is we actually stay, in my case, overworked, underpaid, emotionally broken, like done.
And can I add to that?
Yes, go for it.
So we talk about this a lot, and if you work with us, you've heard us say this, but really what you're talking about, Ann, is you've got to become a different person than you are today. And that doesn't mean that you're not you. You are you, but you has to grow. And if you hang on to the things that have happened to you in the past, maybe they were good, maybe they were bad, but they happened a certain way, and you cling to the belief that that's how things happen, that's a limiting belief. And we've seen it time and again. The biggest thing that holds people back from changing their life, whether you're building an online business or not, is they don't take action. And they don't take action usually, and there's always a surface reason. I got to tweak my offer. I'm not quite ready. And that's really, most of the time, that's not the case. I mean, if it's, I got to tweak my offer and it's a few days, okay, then it was your offer. But if it's like a month, no. So it's very important. And one of the things that we devote a lot of time to is what goes on up in here, because you can all click a button. You can all come up with a phrase. You've got way more skills than you think you have. And people, they want to get a to-do list, right? And Ann gave you 3 things to do. Now there's a lot to unpack on those 3 things, but people always want, well, what do I do next? And of course we understand that, right? You need things to do, but the to-do isn't the thing that makes you special. It isn't the thing that makes this happen. The to-do is not you, and you are the driver here. And so we will talk a lot, always, about growing as a person, changing as a person, and becoming somebody that you haven't been in the past, the new you. We call it living from imagination and not from memory. When you live from memory, sometimes, and it can be both good and bad. It can be, hey, I had these great accomplishments and I don't want to jeopardize how people view me, right? Or it can be, these bad things happen, I don't want them to happen again. That's living from memory. And when you're young and you haven't done much, you have a tendency to step out more just because it's all ahead of you. You have no choice but to imagine it. And then when you've moved on in life and you have some successes and some failures, those things can become baggage that hold us back. They should be experienced that inform the imagination that drives you into the next thing that you do.
Come on. So I want to wrap this up because I want you to see 2 different versions of Ann. And I want you to see 2 different versions of yourself. Okay. We're going to cover what we call the ATMs method. And I call it the ATMs method because it's like printing cash. Okay. Let's just get real. Okay. All right. Money is energy. So the more energy, the more transformation, the more value you bring to the marketplace, the more the kings of the marketplace are going to trade with you as a king. Okay. You're going to hear me use language like kings and priests, like your value, right? How many of you know the story of King Solomon, right? When the Queen of Sheba came to King Solomon, she brought value in trade. That's really where we want to position ourselves, as value bringers to the marketplace. Sales as service, write that in the chat. Sales as love in action. But in order to do that, I had to radically shift who I was. When I went to that room and I had the opportunity to learn from people who are now doing multiples of what I'm doing, I mean, I'm still doing pretty well. But I had an opportunity and I didn't take advantage of that opportunity because I hadn't changed me. Okay. I went in the room by day 2. At the end of day 2, it was like, okay, I kind of looked the part. I kept my computer aside. I just took notes on a piece of paper. Right. I'm like, okay, I'm learning. Right. But I hadn't changed me. And so I went in from a place of desperation. I went in as a victim. I got the things that I needed in that room and I did nothing with them. Why? because I hadn't made the decision inside of myself to actually train and be and live from a place of truth. Okay.
And I'd like to add,
Yeah,
is that okay?
go for it.
You know, so you did do all that, and you did it with a partner that was not in your corner. And you know, many of you may have heard me talk about this before, and if you're new to us, then this will be new. But I was not at all supportive, and I have to say, every time I say this, then afterwards Ann says, "You really underplayed how bad you were." I'm not. I could be here for an hour talking about how I tried to undermine and how I didn't support and how I questioned it, and so those were just additional headwinds. And I say that for two reasons. Number one, you know, a lot of times we do this in the context that we're not solo actors, and so, you know, when we begin to change, there are other people that are affected by that, and that's something that we have to navigate. And the thing that Ann is talking about right now, about how she really took ownership and said, look, I'm doing this. This is like, I'm going forward. And, you know, you can come with me or not, but I'm not going to, you're not responsible for the decisions that I'm making, for the money that I'm spending. I got it, but I'm doing this. And it did two things. Number one, it showed me the resolve, and number two, it put a decision on me. And I'm telling you this not to talk about us, but to let you know that this is actually a life decision in a good way, because you're improving your life, but it requires change.
Yeah.
And we have different headwinds that you live. That's why it's a lifestyle business. And so it's just helpful to understand the context of what she's talking about.
That's really good, Patrick. Can we give it up for Patrick on that? So he said something, I want you guys to write in the chat. It's a lifestyle business. It's a lifestyle business. Okay. I had an opportunity to learn from one of the greats. I got in the room because I had enough numbers to prove that I could be in the room, but I wasn't. I was like a poser. You guys ever heard that word? Poser, faker. I was the stooge. I didn't have to be, but I was, not because of somebody else. Let's get real talk. Because of me. Ouch. Dang. I heard there's a minister that I just absolutely love. His name's Lance Wall now. And I went to one of his conferences way back in the day and actually spoke on his stage. And one of the things that he's like, he shared this revelation. So if you've ever been in that situation, you're like, dang, why does this keep happening? How come it's happening over here? It's happening over there. And he goes, I realized, wait a minute, I'm the common denominator. So it's not them that has to change, it's me. So I have come to give you hope. Okay, I have come to give you hope today. Just write in the chat, there is hope today. Guys, if I can do this, you can do this. If I can do this as a stuck-up luxury interior designer 15 years ago who thought sales was slimy, who now provides not only information, products, signature courses. I've helped international ministries. I've helped consultant businesses. Like, I've helped people in the design industry. Like, this is possible. Okay. So I share that with you because I really want you to get excited about the next 5 days. Because at the end of this week, I want you to have the settled belief. Just write that in the chat. A settled belief that it's possible, and it's possible for you. Okay? It's possible, and it's possible for you. Okay. All right. So
And
I eventually, yes,
no, go ahead. Go
okay.
ahead.
I eventually broke through. My first scalable breakthrough. I say scalable. What does scalable mean? I could repeat it. I could put that thing on plug and play and I could repeat it. Took me 5 years. Should have taken me 5 minutes. Okay. My first scalable was called Decorate Like a Pro System. Learn how to decorate rooms that live as beautifully as they look, including how to customize the dog bed in the family room. Sold that puppy for $495. It was ugly. I made just under $5,000 the first time I sold it. I was like, holy cow, Batman. Let's do this again, and that again, and this again. Okay. The product was designed for interior designers with small teams, with home-based studios who had interns that they had to train. Not like life purpose, not like anything fancy, guys. I trained from my truth. I finally got a hold of my voice. I just simply trained from a place of truth. I had accounted for my ability. I owned what I was good at. Said right in the chat, I will own what I am good at. I will own what I am good at. And I learned how to market. I learned how to sell. And I killed the sacred cow that sales was sliming. Okay. All right. Here's what I want you to do today. Tonight, your homework is, if you're not already in the VIP, find the link, get in the VIP room. Okay. Guys, Patrick and I charge upwards of $100,000 for our single day consulting. Our VIP consulting day, $100,000 and up. We have set aside this week to help you get a hold of what you are called to bring to the marketplace. That guy right there, he hasn't shared it, but he spent 30 years on Wall Street. Okay. He gets paid astronomical sums to consult. Okay. So just please take advantage of this time. Okay.
So for all of you who are on the stream, who are watching this either now or after the fact, what we're doing is we're taking questions in the Q&A and we're talking about what's the next step, and we're helping people take the next step. So the idea is that you're getting tangible, actual help in the thing that you want to do. And if you have no idea what you want to do, then the next step is to figure that out, and we can unpack that.
Yeah. The other thing is I want you to give yourself grace. Okay. You're looking at a woman who almost quit. Okay. The day that my breakthrough came, the webinar dropped. When I say it was bad, guys, it was bad. Okay. But I did it imperfectly. And then I did it again. And then I did it again. Because I had settled in myself. Just write that inside of you. Settle in myself. That I was called for a reason in the season. Okay. I was called for a reason in that season. You may not believe that your breakthrough is super big, or that it's going to be a multi-million-dollar day, or it's even going to be $100,000 day. It might be a $500 day. But you are called for a reason in this particular season. Okay. And I want to end on this. If the battles that we face are indicative of the calling on our life, come on. Come on, team. Yes, let's go to church. Let's gird up and love with the products and services that we are called to love with. All right. Let's end it with this. Just say, I am. Okay.
I
am. All right, guys. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.